Hey, I'm Charlie, and in this video I'm going to walk you through how to draw these dreamy textured butterflies. So grab yourself a cozy drink and let's get started. First we're going to create a canvas, so click on the X here and we're going to do 3000 by 4000 pixels with a DPI of 300, and this should give us around 51 layers depending on the type of iPad you have. Create. Next we'll set the background color. So head over to your layers, go to background, and I'm going to be picking a cream from my butterfly color palette. If you want to follow along with these, just pause the video and steal these colors, or if you want to follow along with your own, that's absolutely fine as well. So I'm just going to click on the cream, and this is going to set that background. This is important because it saves us a layer rather than just dropping it into another layer. Okay, so we're on a separate layer now. I'm going to pick my brush, and I'm going to be using brushes from my Yummy Textures brush pack. Again, if you'd like to follow along, I've left a link below this video for you to check them out, or feel free to follow along with any brushes that you prefer using in Procreate. So I'm going to be using my gritty monoline. This just gives me a really nice textured outline. And I'm going to pick my pink for the base shapes of my butterfly. So we're going to create our first butterfly now. So go over to Actions, Canvas, and toggle on Drawing Guide, edit Drawing Guide, and then go to Symmetry. And you'll have this options here, and just make sure you have vertical selected. And this means that everything I draw on this side is now going to be mirrored on the other side. I'm just going to click Done, and you'll see this line here dividing the page. So you just want to make sure that when you're drawing on your layer that you have assisted switched on. If I switch this off, it's not going to show up. But if I click on Draw and Assist, everything I draw is now repeated on that side. So we're going to start with the top of the wings first. I'm going to start in the middle and kind of bring the wing around. So 1, 2, 3 here, and then we're going to kind of bring that up almost like a bow tie. And then once that shape is completely closed, we can just drag our color in and just make sure that you have the threshold to around 95-96%, because if you go too much, it's going to flood your whole canvas. And then we're going to create the bottom section of the wing. And we'll repeat that process. We're going to kind of start in the middle and bring our shape round, and then bring that to a point, and then we can fill that in. So I normally have the wings a little bit smaller than the top of the wings, and then I'm going to draw the silhouette of the body. So I'm going to bring this part up here for the head, and then the antenna, and then the rest of the body to a point like so. Okay, so we have our shape created. We're going to create the second shape now. So this is going to look a little bit different because we're going to have a butterfly on its side. So kind of resting with its wings closed. So we're only going to see one side. I'm just going to create a new layer, and I'm not going to toggle on assisted for this because I don't need it to be symmetrical. So I'm going to start with the body shape first. So I have the head, the body coming round, and then the legs. We'll draw the antenna, and then I'm going to bring the top of the wing out first. One arch coming around like this. And notice how I'm building up my shapes in sections, and this is just going to make it a lot easier as you go. And then we'll draw the bottom half of the wing. We're going to create a new layer now, and this is going to be the second wing, and we're going to bring it just poking out behind. So you want to make sure that your layer is underneath that second butterfly. We're just going to bring that out and just make sure that it's completely filled. Okay, so we have both of our butterfly shapes created. Now it's time for the fun part, adding color and textures to our butterflies. So I'm going to create a new layer above my first butterfly shape and toggle on clipping mask. I'm going to pick a nice textured paintbrush for this. So I'm going to use my smooth gouache from my Yummy Textures brush pack, but feel free to use any other colours and brushes here. And I'm going to start to layer up some of my colours on the wings just to bring it to life. So I'm going to go in with an orange here, and I'll show you exactly how this brush works. And just make sure that you have drawing assist switched on for that layer as well. And notice how when I kind of tap on my canvas, this beautiful texture will start to appear with this brush. This is a really nice way of adding some textures to your butterfly. And then I'm just going to, with another color, start to layer up. And because this brush is slightly transparent, you're going to start to see some of the colors as well as the textures come through. I'll add a little bit of yellow here. And I can go in with a pink and kind of add some pink on top of those colors as well. I'm going to go in now with a lilac. Maybe add a bit more lilac at the bottom here, just to kind of differentiate between the top and the bottom wings. Go for some cooler colors here, so maybe blue. And let's go for this nice green for the tip of the wings. Okay, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks. So the next thing I want to do is start to add a solid color for my butterfly's body. So I'm going to go back to clipping mask and make sure I have draw and assist switched on, and I'm going to pick the dark green, and I'm going to go over with my dry ink brush for this, and I'll just start to colour in the body and bring that round like so. Okay, now that I have my colours put down as well as the body, I'm now going to go in and start bringing out some of those really nice textures on the wings. So I have a really fun hack for you. So if you create a new layer again, go over to clipping mask, and we're just going to do draw and assist. If you pick a black, you can of course add some nice textures this way, but what I like to do is match the color with the texture. I'll show you exactly what I mean. So if you go over to the N here and toggle on the soft light blending mode, that same black will now match all of my different colors wherever it touches. So notice how it creates a darker shade of that color when you draw within that. So this is a really lovely way of adding some more subtle textures if you don't want to use a black. So I'm going to go in now and start to add some nice textures to the butterfly's wings. So I normally start with adding some textures and detailing to the tips of the wings like this. And then I want to add a line going into a point in the middle, like so. I could add a circle here, and then I'm going to add a little bit more detailing here. So I want to bring this round in what looks like a teardrop, and then from here we're going to bring some lines coming out like so. And wherever the lines are touching, we're just going to round those edges out a little bit. And like I said, just soften those edges where all the lines are meeting to create a more natural looking pattern, like so. Okay, and lastly, I'm just going to add some lines for the body. And maybe fill this in. And lastly, we're going to add some white and black for the last details. I'm going to create a new layer, go to Draw and Assist. I'm going to go over to my cream, and I'm just going to add some decorative dots to the wings, just to make it look extra dreamy. Then I'll go in with a black, make sure that I have assisted on, and just add those little details like so. Okay, so on to our second butterfly now. So we're just going to repeat the process by creating a new layer above, going over to clipping mask, but we're not going to put assisted on because we don't need it to mirror for this one. And I'm going to do the same, so I'm just going to pick some colours from my colour palette and also use the gouache brush. I'm just going to tap and colour in this top wing, and maybe I could have some pink coming through here and some cooler colours again on the bottom wing. We're then going to create a new layer for that second wing. Go to clipping mask. Just going to colour in that with a lilac for now. Create a new layer, go to clipping mask again. So we're always working in layers. I'm going to go in with a slightly darker purple, and I'll go over to my heavy noise. I'm just going to add a subtle grain. I'll just make that a little bit darker so you can see, to add a bit of shading to that back wing. And this is just going to make it look a lot more 3D. Okay. And let's continue now with adding some of those nice textures again. So I'm going to create a new layer, go to clipping mask. I'm going to go over to my black, go to my dry ink brush, and start bringing out some of those beautiful textures for the wings. So I'm going to be repeating the process again. So I'm going to go over to soft light, add that blending mode. I'm going to separate the two wings with a line like so. I can start to add some of that pattern. And remember to soften those edges. You want them to all look a bit round. And then let's add our last part. I'm going to pick my soft sketcher and just add a slightly darker. So add a little bit of extra texture to the body, like so. Okay, we're nearly done now. We're just going to create that extra layer for those cream and black details. I'm going to go over to my cream, go back to my dry ink. And again, just going to add these circles. It just adds that dreaminess to my butterfly. Add quite a big one there. And then a black on top for the wing. And I could add a line to kind of separate the wings here as well. And if you want, you can always add more layers as well. So for that background wing, kind of want to add a little bit more shading just to bring it out a bit more. So I'm just going to go clipping mask again, add that purple. I'm going to go back to my heavy noise and just brush over. And there you have it, 2 different ways to create dreamy textured butterflies. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to my channel for more Procreate tips and tutorials. See you in the next video. Bye!